Hey, in a noisy world, get out there and make some. When everybody around you is loud, be fucking louder. What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Six Figure Morning Show, where we give you the best advice in business and life. Thank you guys for all the likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. You already know. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys. Man, there's a lot of fear mongering going on out there. There's a whole lot of doom and gloom. The world is ending. And you know what? It is. It is. If you think like that, then it surely will. Are times hard? Sure, times are hard. I tell people all the time, you're in the Great Depression 2.0. Yeah, you are in the Great Depression 2.0. Yes, Great Depression, they didn't have any money. You're living in 2025, we have too much money, which might as well be the same. You're working your ass off, just like they did. They worked their ass off. I keep seeing all these channels about people not being able to afford anything, people not being able to have anything. It has always been this way, guys. And even if we changed, what do you think is going to happen if we switched over to a digital currency and Bitcoin became the new norm? What do you think is going to happen? Some of you think that, Bitcoin would be the best thing in the world. No, the people with a lot of money right now would buy up all the Bitcoin that they possibly could. So therefore you would have, what do you think is going to happen? It's always been this way. But what I believe is getting ready to happen in the next decade is you are going to see a form of UBI. You are going to see a form of we get what they give us. You're going to have lords, peasants, very much like the feudal system. You are going to have a lot of people that have a lot. We're headed back in time. Yes, we might have the internet. It's actually setting us back. It's setting us back faster than what I ever saw. Micro, macro, guys. I try to tell you guys to learn to think like that. Micro being small right here. Focus on your controllables in real time. What can you control? What can you deal with? I try to teach you guys that to focus on your controllables. Micro, macro, but macro being very large. Project yourself into the future. What does 30 years look like? If we stay on this path that we're on, what does 30 years look like? Micro meaning I project myself into the future. I think of me. What does my life look like in 30 years? But now let's macro that shit out there. What does the world look like in 30 years if we stay on this path? What's happening? What's going on around us? We're headed back to the damn, I don't want to say stone ages, but we're damn sure heading back 100 years, 200 years, hell, maybe even 300 years. We're heading way back. And what do I mean by that? You're going back to a place to where you're going to have to go chop your own wood to heat your house. You're going to find wood burning stoves come back 100%. You are going to find things like a wood burning stove being brought back. You're going to find people get away from the cell phone because this shit is taking over. So you're going to find people getting away from this, going back to a landline. You're going to find people, anything high tech, you're going to find them downgrading that, not wanting to deal with it. People will have a workstation. People will have a workstation. This is the modern day CB. It's a way to communicate with the masses. But at the same time, once you get on here and communicate, it's being monitored. It's being monitored by the government, by other civilians, by corporations. It's being monitored. Back in the day, CB couldn't be monitored. They can now. They can find out where it's coming from, but old ham radio is still very hard to track. You have to actually go. They can track it. Don't get me wrong, for all those that operate a ham radio, but the average YouTuber is not going to find it. The average person on YouTube is not going to find out where you are with a ham radio. HAM radio, ham radio. For anybody looking to get away from the system, things like that, that's how you do it. For me personally, my life without technology, my life without social media, for those that don't know, I lived about 5 years with no internet, no cell phone, no nothing. And I had a 100% life without technology. I went out to Colorado. I was a wrangler in the Colorado, in the Rocky Mountains, worked with horses. I lived in a canvas tent, wood burning stove, took care of about 15 horses, middle of nowhere. I might see a person a week, and it was usually a forest ranger. But, past that, when I came back from the Rocky Mountains, I came back basically to poverty and homelessness. Child support left me homeless, and I had to really downgrade my life. Basic survival rate, BSR. I had to learn these things. I had to teach myself these things. I had to quit trying to conform to the masses and listen to what all you other goober smoochers do. I had to stay away from that shit. I didn't go out and buy the fancy car. I had to actually sell my BMW. I had to sell things. I had to really downgrade my life. And then once I did that, I never wanted it back. So for those in the comment section that say things like this dude's teaching us how to be rich and he's not even rich and blah, 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 I'm very comfortable. I can do whatever the hell I want to do. I'm very comfortable. I'm never going to go out and rent some retarded ass apartment. I love my apartment. My apartment runs me $900 a month. How many of you, and it's old. My apartment is old, but it's clean and it's safe. And I pay $900 a month for this little old place. And I'm going to hold on to it for a little while longer. Just for a little while longer. I don't see where the problem is. A lot of you can't even get out and get your own apartment. I lucked up and found one outside of Nashville, Tennessee for $900 a month. They're going to raise my rent up next year. They know what they gave me, or in a couple months. They know what they gave me. But at this moment, I'm going to live in this little old place at $900 a month for as long as I can. And that seems to offend people on the internet. But then you're the same types of people that jump in other comment sections complaining that life's so hard, complaining that you have no money, complaining that their job market won't take care of me. No, the world is hard because you're living beyond your means. Sure, inflation, 100%. 100% inflation out here, got it. 100% jobs don't pay shit. I agree. But again, let's go back to focus on your controllables. Nothing you can do about it. What you gonna do? You gonna become the next Luigi? What you gonna do? Think about that. Nothing you can do about it. So tone it down, bring it down to your level and focus on your controllables. What can you control? Okay, I know that they're only gonna pay me $20, $25 an hour. Great. I need to learn to live on half of that. I need to downgrade my life. Do I need to dump the car? Sure, dump the car. Quit trying to impress the hoochies at the club. Quit trying to impress them. Quit trying to look cool for people. Quit trying to look like you got money when you're broke. Downgrade your damn life. You need to go riding a bicycle around town with a backpack with your lunch and everything in it. Go be that guy. Who says you can't be that guy? I was. You know how many people made fun of me, called me a crackhead, told everybody I was gay, all kinds of shit, because I went from driving a high 535 BMW 535i, is what a beautiful car, all black, tinted out windows, wheels, everything. I went from driving that, sold that, to riding a bicycle and working at Texas Roadhouse. I got called everything. It was drugs. I was gay. You name it. I heard it about myself because I went from way up here, deaded out. I was way up here, made it look good, but it was all debt. And then I had to go right down here. But I was flatlined. I was back to zero. I broke even. Once I got myself back to zero, I started building a future. I built a foundation that I can stand on and nobody can take from me. I built a solid foundation that I can stand on and nobody can take from me. You can't knock me off my foundation. There's nothing any of you on YouTube can do to knock me off of it. Guarantee it. You can jump in here like old twat and talk shit in the comments, but you cannot, because I built a solid foundation, and that's all I want you to do. That's what cash heavy is. Pay off your debts, get debt free. You're going to have a mindset to trudge along because nobody's going to believe in you. Go tell the people around you, if you're a functioning adult in society right now, go tell people you're going to pay off your debt and get debt free. They're either going to tell you, man, I did that, it's the best thing I ever did, or they're going to tell you, you ain't going to do that. You ain't going to be able to. Go tell your friends and family you want to get sober. Go tell them, I'm going to quit paying off debt. Go tell them, I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to get sober. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to start eating healthy, eating clean, get in shape, and pay off my debt and get debt free, and then start stacking money for a better future investment for me and my family. Go tell them that and watch how they treat you. And then start doing it and watch how they treat you. And then you got to make that decision. Do I even want to hang out with these people once you get to where you're trying to go? I didn't. They had talked so much shit about me through that process of paying off all my debt, getting sober, building the lifestyle, building a foundation for myself. They talked so much shit about me during that process. I never wanted to circle back around and say anything. It's like, all right, fuck them. You didn't believe in me. You made fun of me. You mentally made it a challenge for me. Fuck them. You're going to have to make that decision for yourself. Each and every one of you, you're going to have to make that decision for yourself. But I keep hearing all this fear-mongering stuff out here. The world is so hard. Life is so hard. Everything is so hard. And sure, it's hard times, but it's always been that way. It has always been hard times. You look at the lords and the peasants, the serfs. Look at all that going on back then. You used to have people living in castles, you still got them living in mansions and castles. You had people, though, literally living in castles. You had people literally living in just, hell, I can't even think of the term for it now. Look at Egypt. Look how people lived. You had a man living in a cave, and then you had somebody living in some big old castle or whatever it was called back in Egypt, some pyramid or something back then. You had people living in all these different things. And you get what I'm saying? Right now we have, I wish I would have taken, or I wish I would have kept the picture. I had a great picture downtown Nashville. I was walking. There was a homeless man, and behind him was a big glass restaurant, high scale, high end restaurant. Probably, we're talking $100 steaks, $65, $85 steaks, $100, $125 dinners. A man was in there eating, and I took a picture, and the man was getting ready. He was literally about to bite into his steak, and there's a homeless man out there, and it all lined up, and the homeless man turned with his sign. And it was a typical will work. It wasn't anything crazy, typical will work for food type sign. So I had this guy getting ready to eat with the homeless man with the sign. And I took a picture of that because I was trying to get a picture of the restaurant. And when I went back to see the quality of the picture, I realized I had caught it all like in perfect time. I wish I'd have kept it. I never thought of what that picture could have been. It really was a Life magazine type of picture that I caught at the spur of the moment. But that 100% symbolizes where we are in America today. But that's where we've always been. It's where we've always been. Vietnam vets being spit on when they come home, government not taking care of them. It's still the same way now. Go to the VA, they don't do shit for you. It's still the same way now. When you get out of the military, nobody gives a shit about you after your military service. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 3 deployments, 6 deployments. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about what you did in the military. Nobody cares about any of that. And these are things that I had to teach myself. You got to stop looking for society to save you. This is why I tell people, don't chase money, chase success. Live a life of poverty and become the doctor. Live 5, 6, 7 years poor and become the lawyer. And then you wake up in 20 years. If you become a lawyer if you go to college at 18 and become a lawyer by 25, 26 years old, you're going to wake up at 40. As long as you keep progressing in your career field, you are going to wake up at 40 and be a high-end lawyer. Does that make sense? As long as you keep progressing in your career field, if you go to college to become a doctor at 17, 18 years old, and you wake up 10 years later, 28 years old, done with medical school, and you're a working doctor, yes, you will be at the bottom. But as long as you keep progressing in your career field, you will become a high-end doctor. Maybe you become a plastic surgeon, anything like that. And that's how that works. You have to see a vision, create a plan, and execute. Most people, this is why I wait to give all the good information around the end of the video, because most people don't even make it this fucking far. This is where I throw in my one-on-one coaching and things like that. If you need me, then feel free to reach out and book me, because I will help you do these things for your own personal life and get you on the right path. But this is why I wait to give this information out, because I weed out the fucking weak. Most people don't have what it takes to make it. They're mouth breathers, they're NPCs, they're non-playable characters. Their life is what it is. It is in each and every one of us to be great, but most people don't have what it takes to go through no man's land and become the type of person that they're supposed to be. It's going to take you a decade. That's why I tell you to focus on 2030, because 2030, if you set a real clear vision for yourself and have a real clear plan, 2030 is a good benchmark. It's a milestone. Once you get to 2030, you better be going to the whiteboard. You better be writing out what you want. What type of money do we want? What type of savings do we want to have? What's our credit score in 2030? What type of life are we living in 2030? And come back here in real time and start executing. Start executing on that, and then you'll wake up in 2030 and you're going to be where you are, and you're going to be like, damn, R.C. Edson is fucking right. That motherfucker wasn't a liar. He wasn't a scam. He told me the truth. I had what it took to carry on, to push fucking through, to persevere. I had what it took to take the hits. Now I have no real family. I realize all my friends, I exposed all of those people from back then. In 2025, I exposed everyone for who they were and what they really thought of me. But now I'm here. Look at where I'm at financially in the life I'm living. Look at who I am. Look at my kids' school. Look at the car I drive or the life I live or the education I have. Don't chase money. Chase success. And it'll probably take you a decade. But if you focus on 2030, that's halfway through. That's your benchmark. That's your halfway period. And then boom, we don't give up. We don't give up. And then bam, 2035. But you have to learn a lot of little things. You have to learn how to think micro, macro. You have to learn how to create a vision or how to see a vision, create a plan and execute. Thinking micro, macro. You have to learn to bring yourself back right here, real time. Focus on your controllables in the micro and then project yourself out to a world view, macro. What's going to happen here? What's going on? AI is coming. The internet is taking over. We all know this. It will be some form of digital currency at some point. But to the young man that said there's no point in getting cash heavy, yes, because you'll have a period of time to where you get to transfer your cash into a digital currency. Cash will leave one day. It will leave. It will become an old form. It won't go away completely, but it will become a very old form of payment. It will become less acceptable. It will leave. Guys, if you can't beat them, join them. You need to start learning these things. Stop trying to beat the system. It's way too big. If you want to thrive, then learn how to play in it. You need to start learning these things. Micro, macro, see a vision, create a plan, execute, mountaintop thinking. Don't chase money, chase success. You need to learn these things and you need to listen to what I'm telling you. And focus on your controllables. And that's going to get you to the next level. Right now, you're in the negative. We got to go through the dirt. We got to crawl through the mud. You're in the negative. You're broke. You're having a hard time. Life is hard. Everything out here is really expensive. Stop spending all your fucking money. Start stacking cash to make a proper investment for you and your family for the future. If you make 10 grand a month, you need to live on fucking 5. How is that so hard to understand? Stop trying to impress everybody and make it look like you're big fucking Hank. You're big ballin' Hank, all hat, no cattle. Stop that shit. Fuck those people. Let's move forward into the future. I'm trying to get you out of the mud. I'm trying to put you in a sustainable situation. Help you build the fucking foundation because it is very hard. That's all I'm here for and that's what I'm doing. So where's everything going? We're in the negative. We're in the mud. Let's at least get to 2030 halfway. Let's at least get there. If you stay strong, you persevere, work 2 jobs if you have to. People are like, I don't want to work hard. All they talk about is working harder. It's always been this way. Look at who built the damn pyramids. Think about that guy. Think of all the slaves throughout history. Think of the gladiator, whoever you need to think of right now. Wherever you need to project yourself, it has always been hard. But you have it really fucking easy right now. You got central heat and air. You got a refrigerator you can walk your fat ass to in there and grab a cupcake. You have it really easy. These people had to go out and grow their food and preserve their food. And they had to go. My grandmother used to tell me stories about having to go fetch a pail of water. And one day she showed me, she's like, I used to get water over here. When she was a little girl, she'd had to walk and go get buckets of water. And when she showed me how far she had to walk, it was about a quarter mile just to go get a bucket of water as a kid and then carry it back. Y'all ain't doing that shit. And y'all scream that it's hard. I was fortunate enough to be raised around my great-grandparents, my grandparents, and my mother and my stepfather. I was fortunate enough to be raised around all of them and get to hear these stories. My great-granddaddy died at, I think he was 94, but I remember being a little boy and he was still plowing fields. He was still messing with farm animals and shit. He was still a farmer, an old school Amish type farmer. And he was still getting out there and getting it. He died a millionaire, but he lived. My great granddaddy was a millionaire, but he lived. You would have never known it. He died with 200 acres and 3 houses, all paid for, cash money, prime real estate. The farm is still there, but you would have never known it. The man lived off of nothing. He lived in a small 800 square foot, 2-bedroom house with a basement. Very small house. He was a farmer. He was the real fucking deal. And he died a millionaire. And that's how you need to operate. Stop chasing all these different goods and spending everything you make. You need to develop the mindset of a fucking farmer and live on way less than you make and start making a proper investment for you and your family. That's how you get ahead. That's how you make it. Not sitting back here bitching, belly aching on the internet about how hard life is. Motherfucker, dig deep. Be a damn man. Stop crying about your skin color and your fucking work, what your employer does and all this, what the government's doing. Stop all that shit. It's been that way. But at least now you know. At least now, back then, imagine when you had to wait a week for the newspaper to come around and tell you what was going on. But at least now you know in real time there's fraud, there's this, there's that. So you can start making calculated decisions. Like I said yesterday, your government, hell, the world was not ready for this level of exposure. It was not ready for this level of exposure. What are you going to do with that information? You know it exists. First and foremost, we need to turn it off. We need to turn it off first and foremost to start focusing on our controllables and moving ourselves forward into the future. But what does the future look like? The future looks like AI. Earlier in this video, I said that history repeats itself, and it really does. History is 100% repeating itself. You are going to see, there's going to be a period where it's going to happen in my lifetime. It will happen in my lifetime. It's going to happen in your lifetime, most likely, that there's going to be a period to where you're going to watch AI generated pictures of, say, Mount Everest. And then you're going to watch to where a person that actually went to the mountain and took a hard copy photo will be rewarded handsomely. If you want to be a photographer, go be one. But you need to become an old school photographer, not this new age bullshit. If you want to be a graphic design artist, then go be one. But you need to become a graphic design artist, not this new AI bullshit. Okay? You want to be a videographer, you want to, whatever you want to do, you need to go old school. That's where the money's at. You need to learn old school methods, tried and true, not this new age bullshit. This is not where the money is. AI is going to take it over. And I'm going to be honest with you, AI graphics, AI photos, all that stuff looks cheap as shit. I will forever and always reward or work or buy or pay or however the hell you want to look at it, hire people that do still hand-drawn people. I will always hire a real graphic design artist. I have a real graphic design artist if anybody is interested, but do not bullshit me because I consider him a friend. I love his work. He is very good. He's probably one of the best on the damn market. And I would be highly offended if you waste his time. So I don't give his information out to any old goober smoocher on the internet. But I have a legit graphic design artist and he is not cheap. Some of you motherfuckers are out here complaining about prices. You'll go to Walmart and give them all your damn paycheck, but you won't pay another man for his services. And this shit's weird. It's weird. Oh, man, I could run with this all day long. I could run with it all day long. Start becoming an honorable person. Leave a proper tip. Start developing your character. Young men, listen to me. Black, white, Mexican, Asian, doesn't matter. Start becoming an honorable man, much like an old school knight. Have values. Live for something. Okay? Or like Rambo, live for something, die for nothing. So, hey, man, listen, have some real integrity about yourself. I know this conversation bounced all over the place, but there's so much going on out there in the world. Life is not that bad. When you look around, you have I got a big ass TV. I'm looking at a freaking, 55, 65 inch TV sitting right here, staring at this big fucker. I got central heat and air. I got a fridge full of food, and I realize you may not have that at that moment. But when you look around, you have some of the things. You have lights, water, gas. You have heat. You're not out here freezing in the cold. You're not doing these things. Downgrade your life. If you got to go live in the car for a little bit, go live in the damn car. Honestly, I tell people all the time that, you know what, you need to dump the car and just rent a cheap apartment and live and ride a bicycle. You can almost do everything you need to do on a bicycle. There's no reason to have a car in a lot of places anymore. You just need to, and people complain about that. People complain when I say stuff like that, and they complain about what somebody had 50 years ago. Yeah, but 50 years ago, they didn't have the medical care that you have. 50 years ago, they didn't have the central heat and air that you had. You know, things like that. It wasn't all over. It might seem like that, but they didn't have a cell phone. They didn't have internet. They didn't have access to the things that you have. They didn't have that. 50 years ago, 100 years ago, housing was cheap and luxuries were expensive. Now your freaking luxuries are cheap and your housing's expensive. History's just repeated itself. It's just reversed. Pay attention to what's going on. You can go buy a badass watch for low cost, but you can't get a badass house. 100 years ago, you got a badass house for cheap with a watch was expensive. You know, it's little things like that. That's what's happening. So stay away from luxuries, live well below your means, downgrade your life, stop trying to impress the fake ass friends. Stop that shit. Stop it, and life won't be so hard. People, like I said, on the internet come complaining that, oh, this dude's telling us how to be rich and he ain't rich. Motherfucker, you don't know what I am. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. I don't have to, I'm not working for anybody else. I'm not on somebody else's time clock. Doing all right to me. So think about that shit. Think about that. Other than that, man, you guys know I can ramble. I can beat a dead horse till it dies again. I'm going to leave it there. You guys have a great freaking day. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the morning.